All right, welcome back, gamers. So I know everyone and their mom has done a patch review by now, but I wanted to give the update plenty of time to see how it feels and let it marinate, gather my thoughts, and just kind of see how things went as the week went on. Didn't want to jump to any conclusions with how the update is overall. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're gonna work on the big stuff here, and I want to start with the positives of the update, and then we'll go into the negatives and my thoughts as a whole. So starting off, Nancy. Oh my goodness, Nancy finally got her much needed buffs. Overall, I do think they're pretty great for the most part. Definitely some unexpected things. I did not expect other family members to have the freedom to walk through her traps. I love it. I don't necessarily know if she needed that change, but I will gladly accept it. And honestly, now that she has that, there's no way they can revert back. People are going to get too used to walking through them. So, bake the poison. I guess it was a good change, but I guess we'll see how it is ultimately in the long run, if Nancy is super annoying to play against or not. Personally, I think she's still okay with this, but we'll see as time goes on. They also made it so she can place things faster and remove their barbed wire faster. I do think those were good changes. I feel like they could have gone even quicker with this, shave even another second off of each. I think that would have still been fair, but I'm happy for the time drop that we got as it is now. I do know a lot of people were upset they didn't change her tree at all. I do think they could have done that as well. Maybe given her a few more attribute points, maybe naturally buffed her speed. Overall, I don't think she's a horrible family member pre-patch, and I actually don't even think she's still all that bad now. Clearly she has some nice buffs, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more Nancys. I know I will definitely be playing her because she is fun and she's great in squad. As for hands, we finally got that Ripstall cooldown nerf at level 2, where they changed it from 40% to 30%. I think everyone's kind of beaten this into the ground that it needed to happen. They finally did. It's a little bit awkward that it came at the time of another really strong victim, but more on that later. Endurance fix for our victim friends, thank God. It's an overdue security pins fix. That's good. Use it now, people. You're gonna want to. If you were happy Cook wasn't using security pins for a while, well, sorry to tell you, but you should be seeing it a lot more again. Blackout skins for Wyatt and Bones on release. That's huge. Big W there. It took quite some time to get our last set of blackout skins, but I'm very happy to see Wyatt's and Bones release on their same release day. That's a W gun. And then this is a small thing, but I really appreciate it. We got the lobby UI for the abandoned mill where it says dusk or night, just that little descriptor there for the time of day. I love that. It's nice to know what kind of situation you're getting into. So shout out to them for doing that. They made it so family can't get stuck at the valve exit anymore. I know Hitchhiker this happened a lot with, so happy that they did that. A lot of things for rush week and private matches. Not going to touch on that too much, but those are good things. Rush is kind of a combo of those. Rush week did get private matches. That's fun if you can get a bunch of other people to play with. Personally, I still would like to see that be added to the public queues, but I guess we'll see. And yeah, so those are the big changes, big fixes, lots of good things there. Now I want to touch a little bit on the meat of the update, which is that of Wyatt, Bones, and the graveyard map. Overall, I do think all three of these things are fantastic, a lot of fun to play. Let's start with Wyatt. He is obviously a ton of fun. He looks great, he sounds great. We got the Skeet Ulrich into TCM, which is amazing for anyone who's a Scream or I guess Riverdale fan. I dig the clothing. He's got really good attributes. The 5 stealth is kind of crazy, but I like it. I think everyone kind of agrees at this point that stealth is a little bit useless at like 90% of the time, but if you're a stealth hater, Wyatt's your go-to. So look at that. The unfortunate thing with Wyatt is all these positives really are kind of being overshadowed by how crazy the level 3 ability is. Most people are probably talking about this as well, but I think for the most part, his ability tree is actually quite nice. It has a lot of things you can do with it, it's easily one of the best in the game in terms of, how you can build Wyatt and play with him and adjust, your loadout appropriately. The main problem being that top left ability, which allows throwing knives to turn off the battery gen and disarm traps, is pretty ridiculous. It's free bomb squad, and not to mention if you use the node directly below it, you can get your knives right back. So it's basically unlimited bomb squad, and probably even quicker than the normal bomb squad speed. But Wyatt also has choose fight. That it's kind of an L, it fits the character, so I respect that. It's just like, as someone who plays a lot of family just to help the queues, like, choose fight is so tiring. It is. I don't know how they can change it at this point other than getting rid of it. Maybe they just decrease the stun time or decrease the amount of uses it can have. I don't know if that's a good solution either, but man, it's just like, choose fight is easily one of the most unfun things in the game to go against. Choose fight and hands, like those are the worst. Straight up. But and even hands is a piece of cake now, with the ripstall nerf. There's so and Wyatt being added, there's so many ways to just easily counter hands that even he's finally at a more healthy level, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong. But I think most people are kind of getting over the whole choose fight in front of an objective, while you then either immediately turn it off or have a high proficiency Connie there that just turns off the battery right in front of you, or a high strength Leland that kicks it. We're going to be seeing that a lot more, and it's gonna be rough. So overall, I would say maybe we can tune down choose fight, at least for the time that you're stunned. I think that would be fair. That's probably the best and easiest solution. As for Wyatt at the level 3 ability, I do think we should give it some more time to see how he ends up playing out and gets used, and how that is in the games. But there's some crazy clips on Twitter already of people sniping it over the family house, or people turning off the gen and battery from the backyard of family house in like 6 seconds, which should not be a thing. But we'll see how it plays out ultimately. Maybe change his ability to only have it so it disarms traps. Personally, I think that would be a good solution as well. Still very, very, very strong, and saves up having to have a bone scrap or bomb squad. So we'll see what they do with that. Onto the family side, Bones, on the other hand, like, this had so much hype prior to release. We finally get Bill Moseley in the game, no Chop Top, but we're still getting Bill Moseley. We get his likeness, we get his voice. The voice lines of Bones are fantastic. He's a goofy character, but also, very, very sneaky in the way he clearly is aggressive towards the victims, but he's a ton of fun. It's refreshing to have another family member who can go through gaps, and really, for the most part, I don't have a ton of complaints with Bones. I know some people are like, wow, he's trash, he sucks, whatever. I do think he's okay for the most part. I would maybe like to see the fuse time on the bombs go a little bit shorter, and ultimately maybe this could be a perk that they add, or maybe they readjust the perk tree to somehow include that in there somewhere. But I do think maybe having them be instant would be a bit too much. I get it, if they are instant, it's probably better for the family because it allows people to follow up. But again, if you are making them being instant, I think you would also have to add the ability to disarm the bomb. I'm not sure how many people are throwing that aspect out there of the change, but it would essentially be a normal trap at that point, like every other family member. You got to have a way to disarm that, and whether that's crouching and walking slowly in front of it maybe doesn't detonate it, who knows. But you need to have at least a little bit of counter there. The way they are now does allow you to, if you hear that ticking, you run away, or if there's other noise going around, you might not hear it, you still get blown up. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And you could maybe even defuse them with the bomb squad or Wyatt's ability or a bone scrap, whatever. As far as his ability tree goes, I do think it's actually quite nice. It allows for a lot of good customization, and you can really build him different ways. You can have a nice blood build on Bones, you can have a nice damage build, you can get that extra trap, turn him into the ultimate trapper for some bomb chaos. But I think for the most part, really, if I could recommend one change, I don't necessarily want to say that the bombs shouldn't affect teammates, but that would maybe be a strong change for that, I guess, or change the timer somehow. But I do kind of like the fact that it can explode teammates. I think that's pretty goofy and can make for some fun memes. But that's a big thing there. I do have a few more things I want to talk about on Bones, but we'll touch on that here in a little bit. And the last really good thing about this update was the map. We got a new graveyard map. It looks great. They killed it. It's another beautiful map. The vibe, the ambience of the graveyard is fantastic. You know, I love the ambiance of the mill, and I love what they did with the graveyard as well. Black Tower really is killing it out there, but you know, it's a complex map. Some people don't like the hills. I do like it. You know, on the flip side, I do really like the simplicity that Gas Station has, but also I think it's refreshing to have, you know, a new map that is completely different and unique. We have finally a new sort of unique, you know, the method of the new escape is super unique. Ultimately, it's just a gate you got to do, but still the way to get there I think is awesome. I love that they did that. I guess the one complaint about the map, it's kind of a bummer the bell tower doesn't seem to do anything. You know, that I felt like that was a big emphasis in the initial trailer. I wish it did a little something, but who knows, maybe there's a secret that we don't know about yet. But yeah, I like the new escape. Very fun, and the way the map is, you know, a little dynamic is pretty cool. And really, I think the map is fairly balanced for now. I'm not really seeing anyone say whether it's sided one way or the other. I saw someone say the basement is family sided. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I need more playtime on it, but it seems like, you know, at least for the new escape, it's doable by the victims, and it's also counterable by the family. I think it's a nice balance for the time being. Yeah, overall, I'd give the map probably 8 out of 10. You know, I guess that basement is pretty tight knit, and I don't necessarily love that a ton. I do wish more spaces were a little bit more open, but we'll see. You know, maybe as, you know, me and everyone gets more comfortable navigating it, maybe the community will feel different. But for me at this moment, 8 out of 10. So now I want to talk about some of the bad things with the update, or things that, you know, were a bit of a miss. The first one being Execution Pack 4. The camera is still bugged. That sucks. I think everyone wants to see that fixed. It looks like Gun definitely wants it fixed as well, so hopefully we get that finally polished out in the next update. Another big one that I haven't seen a ton of people talk about, Hands Barge is bugged now. Basically I have to press the button twice, and even then it's a little finicky. Probably won't be playing Hands a ton in the time being, or if I do, probably won't be using the barge, just because it seems a little wonky. So hopefully they get that fixed up. Should be a quick fix. Parties seem to be breaking randomly again. I think this is mainly a console thing between Xbox and PlayStation. It seems like they just either kind of randomly get booted or kicked. You know, I know they have fixed that in the past. Hopefully they get there again. And then the glaring things that are really bad. Xbox users are crashing randomly. I think this happens like right on load-in for the game, or like right as the match is about to start. Just kind of goes kaput. And then obviously Wyatt seems to be able to crash the game. But personally, I haven't really seen this as much over the last few days. It definitely was pretty prevalent early on after the update, but I'm not sure why that would be. Could just be random luck or server things, the way they play with Wyatt, but still is definitely happening. You know, hopefully Gun can get that sorted out. Those are, I guess, the quick things. The big one I want to talk about is Bones' Savagery and Endurance are both bugged. That sucks. Nancy came out and she had a endurance bug. Basically all that means is you can swing 6 times and then you have to refill up your endurance, and it isn't affected by any points you put into your endurance. So really the only way to kind of adjust your Savagery endurance is to use like big swings or hysterical strength, or violent, you know, serrated, I guess technically you could count in there too, to get that little extra damage, because any of your attribute points really are doing nothing. I'm not 100% sure on if endurance perks help or not. I have not tested that personally, so if you have, let me know in the comments if it does adjust it or not. You know, while these things are really annoying, I do think obviously they'll get it fixed up in an upcoming patch. It seems like they've been really receptive to the more recent bugs and getting them fixed in a promptly manner, so I appreciate that. These will be one of those things for sure. For the most part though, I mean, Bones, he does play pretty well still despite the bugs. You could definitely, the way to play him is just to focus on a blood build, which really is the best way to play him anyway. You know, I plan to continue to get him to level 3 on all of his perks, and once I do that, he's definitely going to be my go-to blood harvesting killer, like 100%. Even the time being, level 50 blood harvesting is pretty insane, and if you pair that with blood banker and universal donor, it's pretty ridiculous. You can get Grandpa to level 3 in about the first 2 minutes of game. It's pretty insane, and I doubt they nerf it. I really hope they don't. I know there's a lot of victim mains out there who are crying about Grandpa being able to be leveled up that quick, but at the same sense, like, it's just another aspect of the game that allows for a different counterplay. So, you know, if you don't want him to be leveled up, get your stabs on, use your agitator perks, you know, counter it. But for the most part, I do think Bones is fun as a blood harvester. You know, once he gets fixed, we'll see other builds on him be useful. He does have a nice kind of savagery tree as well. Not perfect in the way he is, but once he gets fixed up, I'm sure we'll see that a lot as well. And I think it's worth mentioning his level 3 ability in the perk tree is the free blood trial from when a bomb is exploded. That's pretty crazy. I do think they maybe could nerf that in the future. For now, again, like the way I feel with Wyatt, I don't want them to nerf it. I want to see how it plays out. You know, there's a lot of family members that don't even feed Grandpa, so maybe it's not a big deal, but you know, me and my squad, we tend to feed, and it generally does us good. But if they were to nerf that, I would say maybe turn it down to like, I don't know if I want to say as far as 50% of a full blood vial, but you know, maybe 70%, see how that feels, or tie it to a perk, or do something. But for now, I think it's not too bad. The other kind of downside, again, about Bones that I see a lot of people talking about is just that his, you know, unique perks, while they are pretty dang cool, being able to well dive or window jump or crawl over the barricade, it's super awesome, but they're not all that useful in practice. You know, the timing to do it really just takes a while. I do think that the well dive is definitely probably the most useful of those, because you can still drop down and cut someone off elsewhere. Or, you know, if a victim is about to bleed out, if you drop at the right time, you can kind of catch them in that bleed out period, which is useful. But it really, the recovery time is long for each of these. And, you know, I don't hate that they're tied to a perk. I thought truly that it would be tied to a proper ability for Bones, but I'm fine that it's tied to a perk. I don't know how other people feel about that, but for me, I think it's pretty good. So yeah, really, I think that's for the most part all I have about the update. It's definitely the best patch we've had in quite some time. You know, I do want to shout out Gun for, you know, putting the work in and getting this out just before holiday break, despite a few of the bugs. You know, people are claiming it's another Danny situation. I don't think it's that bad. I think Wyatt, the way he is now, while that ability is really strong, it's not a free escape just yet. We'll see how the squads and things go. Ultimately, you know, if you're going to get a sweaty 4 stack of victims, they're probably going to be able to run the table a lot easier now, but we'll see how it goes. And, you know, really the game is still in a pretty dang good spot after the update. You know, it's not as broken as it was during the lovely August anniversary patch. The crashing, albeit that's a big thing, that sucks, but you know, it's not at least every game, which I guess is good. And it seems maybe it's a little bit better, at least from the people I've talked to. So we got that going for us. Overall, I guess I'd give it an 8 out of 10 update. You know, it's nearly a perfect patch, but there's a few things that I think could be changed or improved. We got to get some better playtesting up here to, you know, hopefully nip some of these things in the bud before they make it into the live patch. But for the most part, really well done update this time around, and they definitely cooked. Anyway, yeah, that's all I had for today. How do you feel personally about the patch? Do you like Wyatt? Do you like Bones? Do you like the Graveyard? Do you think they all suck? Let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And yeah, if you haven't thus far, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will catch you all in the next one. I wish you a happy holidays, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.